Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the set here between FlipSid and Team Dignitas. We're getting ready to get started now with the second map, which, as you can see, is going to be over here on Mirage. Team Dignitas coming out with a strong victory. A little bit rough there on the first half, but they came out on top on the second half there in a very, very big way and managed to take a very strong victory. I believe around like 16-7 was our final score. Might be number 2 off there. But here on Mirage, this is actually going to be the pick from Dignitas themselves. And now this, of course, adds a new dynamic to what the FlipSid have in their pockets to get themselves back into this matchup here, as we saw some pretty big problems, of course, surfacing on that second half. That side just overall not looking too solid for themselves, so with them jumping back over onto that side this time again, that could prove problematic if those issues aren't going to be corrected, and obviously could lead into a very, very swift victory coming out at the hands of the Dignitas players here. And that, of course, was the CT side, I do believe, for FlipSid. That's probably need to be corrected, and always seems to be the issue there, too, is that CT side just struggling to work things out, struggling to keep things a little bit close and a little bit kind of pieced together there. And on a map like Mirage, where oftentimes it becomes an even bigger problem, that could become one of the big stopping blocks here that prevent FlipSid from striking back, picking up this second point, or technically the first point, and bringing us back. And actually, really quickly, guys, I think we are getting started, so I might end up missing the knife round, but it's okay. I just have to reload very quickly into the server, as there was a little bit of a bug there with one of the players where his model wasn't loading, and that means I couldn't actually spectate him. That would have stayed probably throughout the entire match, so I did have to reload into the server really, really quickly. But thankfully, we didn't miss any of it, so you guys are good to go. But anyway, here we go now into the knife round. We'll take a look at things. And overall, I think this is where FlipSid are gonna want to come out on top, because I mean, it really becomes the question: is do they want to start off first on the side where they didn't end up doing so well? But they're not even gonna get that choice, as Dignitas just ripped through them all anyway there. So they're gonna be able to get themselves back into the situation that they want to, which looks like it's gonna be over here onto the CT side. So they're gonna start off there. FlipSid, of course, will start back over here on their T side. One of the big problems, though, was that it looked okay back over on Inferno there, but one of the big things that we often see teams struggling with back over here on Mirage is there's an overall lack of variety in the strategy here. When you take a look at the T side on Mirage, teams, they struggle to innovate a little bit. They struggle to overall do anything besides just, okay, we can do a default take on A, we can do a default take on A by using control from middle and working that in a connector, we can do the same things back over at B. You know, like things beyond that. Teams often struggle to sort of innovate their own strategies, and it can often, I think Moses made a really good point when I was casting with him the other day in the ESL USA Pro League, as we were talking about it, is that you could often fall into sort of a pit, which is using those types of strats, because it can appear as though it's a big variety in terms of what you bring to the table for strategies, but when in reality, it's not. It's very predictable things, and a lot of times people can see it. There's a lot more different things that you can play into here, and if FlipSid hasn't been able to innovate beyond that a little bit, then it is going to be looking like they'll be lacking, and overall that strong T side that we saw back on Inferno, though it looked great there, it may not be as potent back over here on this map, and that may put them behind once again and allow Dignitas to take an even firmer lead. And if those issues aren't going to be corrected onto the CT side as well, then you could just throw everything out the window, and this should be an easy map for themselves. But with Dignitas picking it, and with Dignitas feeling good about it, overall, things are going to be looking, without trying to use the word good 3 times in a row, but I'm going to do it anyway, things are going to be looking very good for Dignitas anyway here on this map, and they will lead at 1-0, so they've got the confidence coming into this one. FlipSid with a lot of issues to correct there. They're going to have to come back in a big way, and we'll see just how it happens, folks, as we're getting started right now in the second map. And with FlipSid on that T side, we can see them pushing up a little bit here, trying to get their way into the back alley, and unfortunately for me, it doesn't look like I can still see Tensky at this point, so he's still going to be a bugged model. Just look at the mini-map and you'll be able to see him for the time being, but yeah, as we can see, I'm going to have to go off of Auto Director, guys. He picks up 2 kills, though. He's going to be able to find Davko somewhere, hold it there, but nonetheless, these 2 players still left alive from FlipSid. Bondik and Markelov going to try to find their way in, and there we go. Tensky's dead, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. Markelov comes in, finds the easy headshot onto him to shut him down. The rest, both Izzy along with MSL, going to try to rotate their way back into this site, but they might have trouble doing so. Nonetheless, MSL finds his way back over here inside of the market. He's got a little bit of an angle to work with there, but already gets spotted there by Markelov on the way in. Trying to wrap in and take this player out by getting right into his face at this point, but can't find that headshot. He's dropped down to 69 HP. Bondic as well is going to take him out by the truck, and this is a very solid hold, so Easy. Thankfully, he's the one with the kit at the very least, so he's going to try to push his way back into here, but won't be looking too good, as again, we could just see Markelov pop out, and there you go, that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to finish off, Bondic, apologies, will pop out there and finish him off from behind the truck, and FlipSid with a solid hold there. Unfortunately for Dignitas, the rotation's not really being slow enough, or not really being quickly enough there to rotate their way in and try and stop that take from happening. FlipSid was given far too much security. They were able to get themselves into their post-plant situations with a lot of confidence, and then from that point forward, it's an easy shutdown. So FlipSid come out on top once again, and now they're going to get themselves back into this game. This is exactly what we need to see. Thankfully, these next couple rounds should be an easy pickup, and on a map like Mirage, to FlipSid's credit again, this should be a nice build-up for them. The big problem is going to be is the fact that, again, on a map like this, where it's not favored, but they have a favorable side, just overall, when you look at their team, it's going to be about stacking up as many of those rounds as they possibly can here to give them as big of an advantage as possible before they switch sides, and before Team Dignitas gets a chance to really run it into them on their own T side here, too, just because of how weak their CT side look. That's going to be the big key here, too, is, you know, just how strong is the CT side going to look comparatively to the last map, and how many rounds can they stack up here on their better side, despite the weaker map advantage. Now, they'll push forward after picking up these couple additional kills. Tensky, and we can actually see now, he's going to try to jump up there and see if he can get a response onto those guys, but unfortunately, he's going to do a swan dive backwards there as he gets shot in the face. So they're going to be able to take him out. And now for the final two, unfortunately for Dignitas, there's not a whole lot left for these two to do to resist this now. It's going to be Kirby along with AZ, trying to move in and overall try to position for exits, not even really looking for a retake at this point. They'll just be sitting in spots waiting to hopefully catch some of these FlipSid members as they potentially rotate their way out of the site, but I don't even think they'll be obliged in that respect too. Most of these players are exiting back over here through the middle, which won't run into anybody from the Team Dignitas roster as well. So Kirby and Izzy, although they can hear plenty of action, at least Izzy can, they won't actually be catching any of it. For some reason, a couple of them roll back into the site there, so they're going to take some additional damage, but they should still be well off here, and Kirby actually might catch a little bit of it. Davko's brought down low by the explosion. He's actually able to finish him off, so they pick up at least one kill here, but again, you're on the T side, and you didn't really, I don't even know, I forgot what he had specifically, but from the money he has, I imagine he only bought up with an SMG at that point, considering, he might have had a rifle if he did a 3-2 split. There's reasonable doubt to believe either way, but he's going to go fairly light on this one, as I believe they're probably just going to use him to upgrade to the op this time, or coming into the gun round, I do believe, and also if somebody with a rifle drops, he can just pick that up. So that's actually a fairly good choice that FlipSid is making now by just not having him buy up too much besides his essentials. No for Dignitas again. Besides those that save, not really going to see a whole lot. They do go for the pistol upgrades again, but without really armor or anything. They're not really going to be able to do too much work here, so not going to expect a lot else to come out from these guys once again. And as they push forward here, already having that smoke into the window room, trying to find their way to get onto the site, but they'll take it slow just in case Dignitas try to play it aggressively. There was nothing happening in middle, and this is a good precursor too. Granted, again, Dignitas haven't really been given a whole lot of room to try and resist this, but the fact that FlipSid is favoring over here towards middle, I like this. The problem is going to be, as I talked about before, is the sort of undiversity, and Flayed almost getting taken down there right from the get-go, but at the very least he finds a trade. Now the rest of the team, though, as they're distracted by that A push, is going to push themselves into this B side. Tensky will hold for the time being, but he's traded out by Markelov, and now Worlded jumping down finds an additional kill. Kirby comes in to find one, but Worlded picking up an additional one. Just going to be Izzy left on that rotate from the A. And unfortunately, again, a little bit too much time, a little bit too slow on this one. So as he rolls in, that aim punch is going to hurt him. Markelov is going to be able to throw him off guard. He saves his teammate's life off of that too, I should mention, as Markelov is going to be able to plant the bomb in addition to that one, but nonetheless only gets a little bit of extra money for himself. The rest of FlipSid, of course, now going to go for the upgrade, and that's exactly what we needed to see now. Interesting, I thought Davkos was going to be the one to purchase it, but he was a little bit low, so they don't have him go for the buy up there on that. They just use, I think Worlded just buys it for himself, but nonetheless, he gets a full buy for himself. He's not going to be limited in utility, and that very passive buy that he went for previously now sort of evens himself out with the rest of the team as they go for their full upgrades at this point. They even ditch a couple guns onto the ground, as I'm sure you saw there too, so a lot of teams nowadays actually thinking about that economy, they don't like to do that. They just sit back and they use those SMGs regardless, and if they drop the round, it's not too big of a deal off them, especially on T side, but they go for it. And although we see a good opening coming out from Team Dignitas, FlipSid cleaned it up directly after that with two more of their own Blade and Worlded finding two of those kills. They've only lost Bondic, and that's way over there on the T ramp, but there's pretty much no other action happening. Nonetheless, this the scout that goes back over there does allow them to move a little bit closer to that B site, but unfortunately their only defender there is also going to get taken down by Markelov. So now as they work their way in, Izzy will try to resist this push, but that position there from behind the cash register normally doesn't really net too much unless they catch more players working over towards bench. They've already got Markelov in that position, so I don't imagine anybody else really having a reason to shift over there. And oh, so unfortunate too, because just as he repositions, he misses an opportunity to grab Davkos potentially out in the open there, so they're not going to find him, and these final two won't even be attempting this, obviously. Just going to play the economical game. They'll sit back, they'll save the rifles, and they'll look to take those into the 5th round here as Flipside will come out on top once again. Only going to lose one player, so that'll be good for building things up, specifically World at keeping himself as healthy as he is. Now, although we did see a full buy up from him in the previous round, we could see it from him once again, and he's actually going to have a whole load of cash going into that. You could see just off of this round too, he's still sitting at 7,000. Now he's got $10,500 to work with here, and a bit unfortunate too, because you look at that position for Pimp. Nobody tries to scout inside of connector itself just because they don't want to risk that money just as of yet, but that could have been an extra kill. It would have prevented another rifle from being in play. Because of the fact that they have those 2 rifles and the players with excess money, they actually do get a fairly competent buy coming out from Dignitas this time still as well. MSL is really going to be the only player that can't afford to get anything into his pockets, and that's going to be because he goes for this Mag 75. Everybody else works with rifles, but the pop from World Edit comes up the ramp there and shuts down Izzy right from the beginning of the round. Already a kill. MSL couldn't do anything to stop that, and down goes the dreams of seeing like a 4K with a Mag 7 there, as he's just going to pick up his dead teammate's rifle. So that would have been the much better choice, obviously. Bondit goes for a little bit of a battle there, too. Gets some damage on the MSL, but is not going to be able to kill him, unfortunately. And he, too, doesn't want to take a risk on losing himself and evening out the trade, so he just ends up falling back and will evacuate from that with 72 HP, as the rest of his teammates, once again, are lining up for a push. Blade's going to make a little bit of noise to make it seem like it's going to be a mid to A push, but in reality here, when you look at the rest of the team, it's just going to be a straight apartments rush as they work their way out from there. One of the players, Kirby's going to be able to spot that. He sees at least 2 of these players, but a bit of a mistake, I think, on the naked tossed out. Now we can see, too, there was a good response need, and it's absolutely destroyed a lot of Flipside's health pools here. They're brought down very low, so these rifles, if they're aimed correctly, they can finish them off very fast. Blade, World Edit, Bondik, and Davkos all injured at this point. Markelov's really the only player that I would consider it a safe HP, and now there's going to be Tensky. He opens it up with a kill going over here onto Blade. Davkos working his way in, too, but rolls right into Kirby. Thankfully, Markelov is going to be able to catch the response at least here, but now Markelov is ripping through these players. He's picked up 2. He's going to look for a 3rd over here on a Tensky, and he's going to find it. Now it's just Pimp left alive. He's stuck way back over there trying to work his way out, and he's actually just going to go right for it, which is a little bit risky, and oh, just before he gets behind cover, World Edit is going to pin him to the wall, knocking him down, and no save at all from Dignitas this time, so they're pretty much going to be forced onto a full eco here. Going to have to sit back and pretty much buy up nothing this round. And for Flipside, they'll buy up plenty left in excess, and their money's just going to start building up more and more at this point. So this is a great start from Flipside, and it needs to get responded to by Dignitas here, unfortunately for them. Flipside's, again, assuming they don't have any problems with this round, which I wouldn't expect them to, they're basically already going to be at the usual like minimum round score you sort of expect the T's to get at to consider it as sort of a good T-sided half for themselves. So they're going to be at 6, so they already, even if we see Dignitas swing back, they'll already line up another 6 to 9 lineup. The big thing for them, though, is, again, you just remember that the CT side issues that they had, is you would expect them to make a lot more, so I think in order for them to really call it safe, that you would want to have them be more like between 8 to 10 rounds for them to really consider this one a good half for themselves, and for them to feel secure jumping onto the CT side because of the issues we did end up seeing back on Inferno there too, with a map that should be heavily CT sided, but they had so many problems just defending that one as well. Now for Dignitas, they're going to try to open up a flanking opportunity to get some kills, but fortunately that's not going to go very well. World Edit's already there waiting for it. Tensky here looking for the shot on a World Edit, but he can't grab it. Now is forced to sit back and wait for players to push into him. Markelov in the meantime catching the only other player that's naturally on the site. There's Tensky. He gets at least 1 kill, shuts down World Edit. Bondik will be able to react to that one, but at the very least they shut down the Opper, forcing him to rebuy his armor and whatnot. He's the highest stacked player, but they'll be able to recover the Op, and he gets that right back into his hands. Interesting that he doesn't buy for his teammates, so you've got some pretty uneven amounts here on the members of Flipside at this point, but I don't think they're too worried about that. Obviously, just keeping it even, and overall they could just still buy for their teammates should it come down to that situation with Blade essentially running out of money if he continues to die out here. But Flipside, again, in a strong position. They're going to be a little bit more respectful of Dignitas this time because they know they've got a full buy up. Him, with a good opportunity to shut down Markelov, but is going to miss his mark. Won't be able to connect the shot over onto him. And now is actually going to shift a lot of the pressure back over here towards middle once again as they try to resist the push. Blade's way out in middle, just outside of the smoke. Not really anybody watching Cat as far as I can see here. They're kind of leaving that wide open. If they rotate in, that could be an easy kill on a Blade, but nobody's going to be able to catch it. So they've got full control at this point of the middle area. They can work towards Cat or in a connector here. The smoke's going to fade, and they're going to pop flash in a little bit late on it, so they don't actually move in. And Izzy doesn't really connect on him very well, so at the very least he can find that frag over on the Davkos. But Blade again popping, and he's not able to catch both of them at the same time, so will be responded to. Tensky working a very, very awkward position from within side of this smoke and window room, making a lot of noise too, so FlipSid will know he's in here. They re-smoke it, but Tensky also going to smoke out just inside, so hopefully his teammates can get a little bit more action brewing here. And for the rest of FlipSid, they're just slowly creeping their way forward. Rolled at it, finding another frag there as well, from just up on top of the cat platform to shut down a player inside of the A site. You've only got MSL here now, and he's not even checking up towards Palace at this point. Sort of looking to it now as Bondic will maybe work his way out, but even if that kill happens, we're still going to be looking at an even trade, and one player will be misrotated, but Bondic is perfect on the timing there. He's going to move in, but Kirby does patiently try to shift his way out, but a little bit too aggressive with that, so he's only going to get another one for one trade. With all the other free kills that have been happening for FlipSid there, they'll still be left with 3 players left alive in that one-on-one, and obviously, Markelov just going to shut it down to prevent it from even getting close to happening there, from the perspective of that final Dignitas player. And now FlipSid again leads 7-0. Team Dignitas essentially just force buying out of necessity at this point. Not really a force buy. They still got pretty much everything they need, so it's a fairly competent pickup here. But you know, obviously some missing things here like flashes on a lot of their players. Not any mollies at all really on anybody here from the members of Team Dignitas. So things like that if they had just gone for one more save could have been useful. And obviously if they were in a position where they were make 2 to 3 rounds behind, they probably could have done this. But now that they're down 7 without a single point on the board as of yet, the drasticness of their situation sort of outweighs the usual strategy that we would imagine them going for here, and they're just forced to buy up essentially at this point now to keep themselves in play, and hopefully keeping themselves with an opportunity to get themselves back into this match, to be completely honest here. But a lot of that utility already being used, down to just 3 smokes left alive after a lot of them get tossed out initially. FlipSid as well, just playing it nice and patiently, a lot of emphasis on middles we've seen in a lot of these previous rounds. But not any push coming out from Dignitas inside of Connector this time. Normally they've had a player inside here to try to hold this angle, but it's not going to be the case. So now they're able to get themselves freely inside of here. Markelov gets hit a little bit there as some shots come in, but they're going to spot MSL. Pimp, though, was able to respond from within jungle. He picks up the first kill. Bondic and Davco's going to take out the 2 on site directly after this one. Pimp's going to push in. He finds an additional kill, but now he's taken down by Blade finally. And that Molly's going to come in. They re-pick up the bomb. They should be able to get it onto the site. There's still a player from within window room there, but not even expecting Roll at it to creep in. He's going to find one of the shots on a Tensky, and it's just Kirby at this point. He's smoked up by Ticket Box. He's going to have to rotate back over, but nobody close enough to hear that jump, I do believe. So at the very least, he should be able to escape and save if he would want to. As you can take a look here at the current perspectives from the members of FlipSid, but it looks like he's just going to line himself up inside Market, and that will be his hidey hole to make his way into the next round with, at the very least, another M4. As considering the buy we saw Dignitas just go for here in this round, probably not going to be too competent enough to go for another buy here in the next one. They might just go for it, as I said before. They're not really in a position where they can afford to go for that save, just because of how far behind they are now, but still, they might just have to go for it because they're going to be lapsing in a big way. You look at the amounts, Pimp is really the only one that I would say would competently buy. The other 3 are going to be on FAMASas with basically no utility, so they're going to take this one as a pistol round for the most part. 3 Deagles, potentially a 4th if Pimp just goes with the trend. And yep, that's going to be the case, so all 4 of them are going to buy Deagles, 3 of them with armor to work with. And now, this will make it interesting because Dignitas, those Deagles, we've seen some crazy rounds with teams pulling off ecos in the past by picking up Deagle armor buy-ups here. And it'll first come into play with Tensky here, looking for the shot in the world that he's going to miss it though, and he doesn't even try to challenge it beyond this when he pushes in. Kirby though with a good smoke timing, actually almost is going to catch Markelov off, but he decides to just push in there and look for the kill onto him, and he's going to find it there as he presses forward, takes down Markelov. Now they've got control of the apartments. If they push in any further here, they can also get some more intel, but unfortunately AZ gets a little bit too aggressive there too, and he's going to get found out. That will get shut down by the number 8 player, Bondic, as he takes him out of the play. And now the rest of these players are going to press forward. They still have full control of middle, but it's not as solidified as it has been on a lot of these previous rounds. You can see that they're actually falling back a little more just to ensure they're not getting flanked from the back holes, and also just to make sure as well here, or also just because of the fact, I should say, they haven't cleared out window room, they haven't cleared out connector, there's still somebody in here, which is MSL, and they haven't really investigated as to what's going on with Cal either, so there could still be a player inside of the ladder, and there's still going to be a player around the corner. There's a lot of unknowns, as you can obviously see from FlipSid, so they're better off just working their way back over here at the very least, trying to make some noise, trying to throw a forward rotation, and now they can really flip things up by going for just a default A take here. They still have one of their players, Davco's armed with an AK, sitting inside of the cubby up here on middle, and he hasn't been spotted. There's really no way for anybody to spot him either, unless they push out from Cat over towards that angle, or just push out from Connector to try and spot him. So all this attention here from MSL is going to be sitting on these players that are moving in. They do call the rotation, so he may be able to catch Davco's as he rolls right in there, and indeed he might, but he gets over to the right. He's in a safe spot, but still looking for the lineup. They can't find it, and he just does so much to reveal himself. So Davco's is going to take not only the player on site out, but also takes the second one coming in from Cat out as well. Looking for the one that's coming in through Connector. Is going to shut down Pimp. And this is already a great round from Davkos, but now Tensky is going to be the final one left up and running. They already see him. Roland is just going to pop out, dinks him down to 5 HP, but Tensky still wins the trade. That op should be easily recoverable, and for Tensky, he's basically just got to try to run away and save this arbor, or save this rifle once again, down to 5 HP, and we'll see there. Pushing in is going to be Blade. Takes him out nice and easily. And now 9 points, I believe, from FlipSid. Yep, 9 points on the board here from FlipSid now. The money is just completely ludicrous, to be completely honest here, with them having all these rounds in a row, even with them getting even semi-close, and I just kind of want to see if they've even gotten semi-close. 3 players, 3 players, 3 players, 4 players, 3 players, 4 players, 3 players, 2 players, 4 players, 2 players. So the closest FlipSid has ever gotten to winning a round against them has been 2 players alive for FlipSid. They never even brought it into a one-on-one as of yet. And still with no rounds for Dignitas at all. Thankfully, this sort of preserved buy-up round, they are going to be able to, at the very least, get another good utility setup here, along with an op back into the hands of Pimp. But finally, as they try to get aggressive and just go for an in-your-face play against the members of FlipSid in middle, for the first time in quite some time, FlipSid has actually chosen to completely avoid middle for the most part here. Not going to put any pressure on it initially, and this is going to throw Dignitas off now, because now they're opening Gambit to try and catch these players off has failed. Now they're slightly out of position. They have to re-rotate everybody, get themselves into new spots. And now the play even comes back in towards middle. So FlipSid so far are just mind-reading Dignitas for the most part here. And almost out-counter and out-strat them at every single turn here. But a good op shot opens things up here for Pimp. Not going to be enough to find a kill, but it does bring Davkos down to 20 HP. Unfortunately, it is going to reveal the presence of an op there, so that'll be an easily smokable position for the members of FlipSid to try and stop that from happening again. And Pimp himself doesn't even really want to try to get in the way of this one. He just ends up folding back and is going to put himself, I believe, right in front of bench for the time being to watch out for a push from Cat. He's going to keep himself in a sort of floater position too, waiting for a push to come out from either of the usual spots here that currently the Cheese would have control over. But again, FlipSid kind of harking back a little bit to Inferno and what we saw there. Actually taking a lot of time to make their decision in terms of where they want to make that push. They are feeling the heat a little bit more in this round, of course. And now they're finally going to go for this take over here on the A side. They've only got 15 seconds. And Tensky already killing one of them. That's not going to be a good start to this. MSL with both of those headshots. Finally gets traded up by Bondic, but now Bondic's alone, but he's going to pick up one. Looking for another one on a Pimp, but Pimp's got that op. He's going to miss his shot, and now he knows he's got no time left to work this. He's got to look for, at the very least, the op scavenge, and he's going to find that, but still, Dignitas shut it down. And now they're back into this round, 9-1 at the very least. So now they're on the board, but this is a big problem here too, because obviously, as I've talked about before, the money from FlipSid is just absolutely crazy. This is no trouble at all for them to rebuy. Even with this, most of their players can still rebuy for another 2 to 3 rounds, essentially, so they're going to be able to buy through the losing bonus to a point where they'll be safe anyway. And now Dignitas, they've got the buy-up going, but the money, look at it, it's gone. They've got nothing to work with, so FlipSid just bounce back and win out another round here, then they're immediately going to break that economy, but thankfully, AZ and MSL with an aggressive push up middle, finally they're able to go for that in-your-face play, and it works out great, because it shuts down 3 guys. And overall here, the impact that FlipSid would have maybe had on this round has just been brought to 0. So World Edit will have to sneak through. If he can get a great individualistic play, he can maybe pick up 2 to 3 kills here in the middle and potentially try to shut down the economy from Dignitas once again. But overall, if not, and if we see Dignitas holding back here, then we could still see them getting the economy stacked back up for themselves, and that would be a huge bonus for themselves. World Edit misses his shot in middle. Now they know where he is. Now they just got to find Markelov, who's in a fairly predictable position. He's going to fall back, and he's going to work with World Edit. I imagine they would go for an A take, but something different has been called. And it looks like they're actually just going to go inside of the apartments and try to work their way back over here into the B site. It'll be all on Kirby for the most part. Pimp is in here as well, I should mention. Apologies. As he's sitting from within inside the market there, watching for a shot to come out there. But not going to be able to catch these guys just as of yet, as the rest of FlipSid is playing it very slowly. But the smokes come in, and also close by would be MSL too. He could come in for a flank, and they're moving far too slowly, so that's an easy shot for Pimp to find. World Edit will look for the reaction, but I don't imagine it happening. And again, that timer's just been brought down far too low. Baits the shot from World Edit. He's going to miss, and ooh, he does actually end up taking down Pimp, so the opera falls from the CT side, but Kirby's there for the quick trade, of course, in the usual position. That shuts him down. They re-scavenge the op off of World Edit, so they'll save that. And Dignitas again now win that second round, only losing 1 player too, so they're only going to have 1 big rebuy coming out here. They will have to restack up the utility on a lot of these guys, as some of that was used to break up the illusion in the middle and allow that play to happen. FlipSid, I think they thought they were a little bit safer, and that's what initially went very badly for them, as they sort of just blindly pushed up on a Cat without checking down lower, and you realize these players were right at them, and they had an angle onto them too, so obviously a big shutdown right from the get-go on Dignitas' favor. Now FlipSid, you can already see here too, their money bonus is slowly going away, but Bondic, he's going to be able to pick up an additional kill here to start things off on this 12th round, taking down IZ. Now that opens up middle a little bit more here. Tensky Not necessarily with Blade just as of yet, but if he works his way out towards Cat, he could find an opportunity to catch some of these guys out. They go back to their mid play, and it's the slower play that we were seeing sort of at the beginning of this half when they weren't secure just a bit. Not these very aggressive plays. Blade should have been able to see Pimp there, so now he's going to pop Flash it, but he's got to find MSL as well here. Flash not connecting very well, and the op shot there brings it down to 1 HP, so MSL is going to come out for the closer. He shuts him down. Markov, though, is making his entry coming in here through the apartments, and Davko is finishing off Cat as well. That's going to shut down Tensky. Now they got to rotate in, but the problem is they get control of the B site, but they've got no bomb control right now. They got to fall back. They got to pick that up at top middle, and now they've got to rotate it through backhalls once again. So for the next like 20 seconds here, we've got to look at Markov just holding onto the site in his lonesome. MSL says severely overestimated how much control they have, and thankfully Markov is going to be able to abuse this. He pushes himself out there as MSL's hiding in that safe corner. He doesn't even catch him, so he gets an easy spray down angle. And for Pimp, he's going to be the final player left alive in this play at this point. Obviously not a whole lot that Pimp can do, so he's going to look to save this time. Very close by would be Davcoast. I think he just heard him fall down there too, so he's going to shift his perspective. He was looking to check out the site there and maybe inside of Palace to see if he could catch them, but now they've got him surrounded. Bondic's going to roll in. Pimp switches weapons at probably the worst possible time too. Double op setup possibly from D-side, but no, actually FlipSide's not one of those teams that wants to do that, so no pickup there from Bondic on this one, and we'll just stick with a single op on FlipSide for the time being. Now they get themselves back into it. Team Dignitas were able to get enough money stacked up, so at the very least they can get a couple rifle rebuys here for AZ Tensky and MSL, but the rest of these guys are going to be stuck on a pistols once again. That's a 5-7 on Pimp, and Kirby down to a CZ, so not very, again, not looking very good, especially if the utility is not going to be used to the fullest extent here, as they're going to be down from the get-go. They're going to be knocked behind these players. And FlipSide, again, will have a very, very big advantage here. 10-2, now potentially 11-2, and a shutdown on the Dignitas economy for the final 2 rounds. And that would leave them with a huge advantage that I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if, despite all the problems that we were talking about from Team FlipSide's CT side back over in that last map, that's, you know, that's easily make up. Like, this is already exactly the score that FlipSide needed in order to have a good half, essentially. Now they have a huge lead, and they can even build upon it as well. Specifically on this round, there's still that risk that Dignitas' players with rifles can come out in a big way, even the ones with pistols, too. Kirby's, we've already seen him do some nice plays with the CZ in the past, and he's done it right here. He pushes through, gets hit with a nade, doesn't even care, and gets a long-range kill to Markov, as Markov is just completely outplayed in that situation. Blade will look for a response here, but now he's going to push his way up, and there's nothing here. MSL picking one up as well for Dignitas, so that's going to be another kill they grab. No mid-control being obtained here for the members of FlipSide either, as you can take a look at World Edit. He's still here, he's looking for something, but he's completely smoked off. He can't see anything that's going on back over here towards middle, and the rest of the team, they're trying to push their way back inside of the apartments, but that timer gets very low once again, down to 30 seconds, and they're just playing it so slowly. They're going to work their way in, and thankfully, for FlipSide, again, Kirby's still the only player here, but look at this position he has. They're going to have no clue where he's at. Picks up enough damage there to bring Blade down to just 12 HP. Now another player can come in. Unfortunately for Kirby, Blade is going to very easily shut down MSL and survive that encounter, so now he's still alive, but Pimp coming back in there with the pistol, grabs another kill. World Edit and Davcoast are rotating in. World Edit's actually going to be using the Tech 9 to try to play this one out, but they're moving in so quickly at this point. They're trying to hold it, but Thor's still alive from Dignitas, and as they work in, Davcoast picking up one. World Edit looking for the op shot. He's going to miss his opportunity, and Izzy coming in finishes off the final 2 players. Dignitas get themselves right back into it. A free op for Pimp that a few should come out pretty easily at this point as they went for that retake very swiftly. And now they bring it up to 3-10. A couple more rounds to go here. I am a little bit curious to see how much money FlipSide have left. They've actually still got quite a bit, so off of that, off of the victory, they managed to swipe away once again. They're still going to be able to buy up this time around, but with the op once again coming out from World Edit, that's going to bring them down even lower. 2.5k, still 4 AKs in the mix, but World Edit will be out of cash after this one. He'll probably have to go for a Tech 9 buy if he wants to get that. Well, it'll be the 15th round anyway, so it's not really going to matter that much, but this is basically going to be the big round, the final big round here. If one team loses it, obviously on the side of Dignitas will be a broken buy, and it'll be the same story for FlipSide going into the next one. Most players should still be able to afford another AK or Galil buy-up, but we'll be looking at a couple Tech 9s in the mix. And there's Bondic opening things up on MSL. He sits back, waits for that aggression, but doesn't even realize that Izzy is pushed in from CT. However, Izzy, a little bit messy there on the spray. Thankfully, he's able to correct it. Picks up the single headshot and then finishes him off with just a, that would be a neck shot. That goes over there into Bondic. That's going to take him down. And again, Dignitas now with a lot more rebrewed confidence. They're going to be able to push their way in. Markov trying to trap Kirby, but he's going to get flashed, and that forces him out of position. Kirby rips him apart with a headshot to take him down. And now these 3 players left alive. Davcoast also getting hit with an op there coming out from Pimp as well, from within side of the apartments. Every single angle FlipSide tries to push, just gets shut down. Blade finally has some success in connector and rolls this into a second one over onto MSL, but now he's going to have to clutch this in a full ace in order to win it. Jumps up into the air, gets out of the way of Pimp initially, but Pimp is going to be able to shut him down. And there's Dignitas coming out on top with another round for themselves. And although FlipSide, they picked up 10 rounds so beautifully here in a huge streak to shut it down, but for Dignitas, they brought themselves back into this one in a very big way. The op buy-up, they've got the AK scavenge from the dead bodies, and we're looking at a full buy up here. I was actually a little bit wrong on the economy status there, so FlipSid, they're still going to look at 5 full AKs in the mix here, and still a pretty good stock on the utility too, so this is going to be a good one, but they've got to innovate a little bit more as they have fallen into that trap here. The strategies, they're trying to play it slow, but it's so predictable, and now Dignitas can just walk right into this. Tensky picking up 2. Davko's finding another one as well for Davko's finding 1, I should say, for the members of FlipSid as he picks that one up, but the problem is the bomb is now down, and they've got to try to work a flank onto the A site. They're super limited. Pimp with the clothesline on the world, and it takes him out of the play, and now it's just Bondik and Markelov again, so slowly, and essentially just giving Dignitas all the time in the world. They're given every single second they need to reposition. They're given every single second they need to catch exactly what is happening here from the FlipSid end of things. They are going to be able to pick up that bomb, as to be honest, I don't actually think Dignitas realized that they dropped it onto the floor there back on T step, so it'll be recovered by Bondik, and they'll move it back in, but for Markelov, it still looks like he wants to push his way back into the A site anyway. And now for Tensky, he's a little bit low, so he might be able to take Kim down here, but still at 8 HP, we can see there too that Markelov is going to find the initial opening shot over here onto AZ. Bondik looking for the flank onto Pimp here too, as he works his way back in and hopefully catch him, but Pimp is going to make his way out through crawl space there, and actually probably he's going to work his way all the way over towards Ticket Box. And still 30 seconds left. They go back to this very slow play. A little bit of action happening back over here, too, with Kirby spotting out some of these players. He's caught Bondik. He's going to put the molly down. It's going to go right into his face. Pimp catches the kill over here onto Markelov, but Bondik finds the one on Kirby. He's going to survive that with 57 HP. Keep in mind how low Tensky is, too. And it'll be a big rotation that has to come out here from the members of Dignitas. So he has plenty of time to wait for the players on Dignitas to get. He's got plenty of time to put himself into a good position, I should say, rather. And Bondik is actually going to push right on against Tensky, but Tensky thankfully wins that duel with just 8 HP, shutting it down. And Dignitas will bring it back to 5-10. It was actually kind of the expected scoreline after the first couple rounds there, but overall there, that was just Dignitas again taking a very long time to sort of adjust to the strategy of to the members of FlipSid, I should say. And we could just see it here too. It just goes so long. Just an unended streak of, I think, 9 in a row before we finally see Dignitas grab something. FlipSid are able to respond back, but after that, they finally pick up 5 full rounds. What's so interesting about this too is the fact that if we had seen the members of Dignitas pick up the pistol there, this could have been a completely different landscape of only a 7-8 lead, but since it's actually ended up going this direction here, it leads FlipSid with such a huge advantage where we could have actually seen them being at the losing end of this trade, essentially, had it have gone that way right from the get-go. But for FlipSid still, this is a very good lead. They're going to have to work on those issues that we talked about before, but at the same time, a lot of those could just have been map-based and purely just a weak map for them, and the fact they may have not been working on it as much as we would expect here. So we'll see how they go. Taking it very light, I should say, on this pistol round, just in terms of armor buy-ups here. They go for a whole lot of utility that might kind of become useful here, as useless, I should say, as Dignitas is just going to work their way right over here into the A site, but they're going to go right for it. Bondik finding one, stuck behind cover. Kirby gets a response elsewhere, and that's going to shut down Blade as he tries to roll in. Markelov's going to try to move in too, but he gooses the headshot over there on a Pimp. That's going to take him down. AZ taking another duel over here as well, and more rotating in, but they've got the advantage of 4-on-3 manpower advantage. Tensky's trying to move his way in to, again, catch this player instead of connector, but AZ going to shut down World at it. Markelov looking for more, but he can't seem to find anything, and Markelov thankfully gets in that duel with Tensky, takes him out. Kirby finds Markelov right after that, but Bondik as well to shut down AZ. Now it's just Kirby in the one-on-one. He's holding the close angle, and he finds the final kill as well at a Bondik, so that's going to be Dignitas. They're right back into this game. They pick up a 6 point, 2 more in their future here if they can just come through with these next 2 rounds without a problem. And FlipSid, now they're going to be in trouble here, because if they had picked up this pistol, would have been a very secure lead at potentially 13 points in their favor. But for Dignitas, now that they're behind in this big of a margin, or apologies, now that they're going to be behind by that little of a margin, and FlipSid are going to be that close once again to tying things up, all those problems will start to resurface. All those issues that need to be fixed here right now. Otherwise, we're just going to see FlipSid come out on top, or come out behind, and Dignitas will end up ruling this matchup here and take it 2-0. So Kirby and Pimp will open it up, kind of as we expect here. We saw the aggressive vibe coming out from the members of FlipSid with the exception of World because he wants to save for the op. But it's just not doing all that much, to be honest here. Waldetic gets killed by AZ. He takes a little bit of damage as he gets hits 1 to 2 times there with the Deagle. And Markelov, of course, here as well. He's got a scout, so maybe getting that shot, but no, AZ's going to shut him down as well. He gets a little bit of a farm there by picking up the 2 Act 10s, but unfortunately he is going to falter quickly after this one. And that'll be the 7th round coming up here. On number 8 is going to be the round we look forward to, as obviously FlipSid will not be able to pull off too much here. I'm just going to be buying up for, you know, 1 P250 or 2 here that we can see on both Blade and World Edit. The rest of the guys just going to stick with the default USPs. No armor buy-ups, no utility at all. Just going to try to, again, not even taking a risk in the strategy either. Not just going to try to throw it into the faces of the members of Dignitas. They just still set themselves up for defaults. Thankfully, it looks like they may have caught on to the strategy from the get-go here. And MSL maybe having a dirty surprise, but he gets hit once there. Takes out the one kill. Izzy finding another one. He's trying to line up that other kill over there on Markelov too. He tosses out the nade, but he's so low. Although he is going to get killed by Davcoast, MSL still finds that kill over on Markelov anyway, leaving it down to just 2 players left alive here from the side of FlipSid. Bondic will be one of the 2 that are still left, as is Davcoast, and Davcoast gets gooshed there by Pimp. And now it's just Bondic, who has managed to escape, and he's sort of running away at this point, and working his way over here through T-spawn. I'm not exactly sure what his plan is, considering he doesn't really have anything to save, but I imagine it might be to line up an exit kill and a carry or 2, but still that position is going to be right into the face of everybody from Dignitas, so it wasn't really going to change up too much of the destiny there, kind of just avoiding the inevitable. So this is the big round, of course. This is the round that's essentially going to decide, do FlipSid maintain that lead, and do Dignitas have a little bit more work to do before they get themselves back into this map, or do Dignitas swing back and potentially put themselves into a position to end this set very early in the second map after FlipSid has a really good lead. Kind of like our last map too. I mean, 7 rounds T-side over on Inferno and a very, very heavily CT-sided map, and now you've got 10 rounds on T-side and a semi-CT-sided map. So overall, it seems to be FlipSid picking that one up, but struggles to pick up the CT-side advantage that we often talk about here. That's going to be Bondic, though. Absolutely decimating the push from Dignitas, finding 3 kills from the get-go. Pimp and MSL. Pimp again, finding 3 more to trade it back, however, so it puts it into a 2-on-2. Now the members of FlipSid are going to move their way back over here into the A site. MSL looking to get in the way, but Davco shuts him down, and now it's just Pimp alive with 30 HP. Tries to work his way out to, at the very least, force this plant in the default position. He should be able to sneak that one through, which he is, as FlipSid is taking a whole lot of time to rotate their way into here. And it'll be this 2-on-1 retake. Pimp very much so out in the open, but he is going to be given the time he needs to rotate over here to get himself on the top of Tetris. Pimp just trying to nade it out, but by doing this, he sort of gives away his position. And yep, Davcoast is going to be able to waltz right in there, shuts him down. It will be the full 10-second defuse, but there's plenty of time left in order to get that. And now FlipSid, they actually do maintain that lead after all here. The gun round, and a very, very big play here from Bondic is going to save the scoreline here for FlipSid. They keep themselves in this matchup 11-8 in their favor once again. Dignitas, thankfully, are not going to put FlipSid in the clear just as of yet, as they've got another buy round coming. Full AKs armed up, no ops unfortunately, but they've got all the utility they would need. It's the same story back on FlipSid. And again, this is another interesting thing from FlipSid too, because we're still not seeing that op come into play onto anybody here on FlipSid as of yet. Well, not feeling confident enough to go for the buy up here, considering he still was armed with the M4. There was a couple players he could have tossed that to. When you take a look at his money, I'm gonna be honest, he might have been able to go for it, but I wasn't exactly keeping tabs on who stayed alive, and I think he was one of the ones that was apologies, dead there. So unless he could have gotten tossed on by a teammate, it would have worked out so well. But here comes the take again from Dignitas, a full 5-man push into the B bomb site. Tensky finds an opener there on the Dav goes behind the van, but Markelov's gonna get the trade in. He falls back there, but AZ gets the Kobe shot there. He's gonna shut down Markelov. Now they pick up 2 kills. Those rotations from FlipSid are so slow. They're just now getting into the market here to try to resist this. The plant's gonna end up coming out here, and MSL trying to get himself a little bit more out into the open and maybe find Blade, but again, this angle just does never really prove anything unless these players are rotating, but now they're in those positions. More nades are coming out, and the save's going to get called from FlipSid. They're going to fall back, and they're going to give the round to Dignitas, so that's 9 points now. They keep themselves in it, and we're going to go up to a 9-11 scoreline. For Dignitas now, a swift take onto that site, and this just harks back to so many of the rounds we saw back over, ironically enough, for FlipSid's T-side, this just harks back to so many of the rounds we saw back over onto Inferno, where they take it far too quickly, and FlipSide's rotations are just so slow, so they're not able to get themselves into the site quickly enough. It gets smoked off, it gets naded off by Dignitas, and the call just comes out where it's not even worth it, guys. Just fall back, just save the rifles. We know that economy is not going to be in a very good spot, so we've got to work our way away from this one, and we've got to play this game economically, because we've got this lead for the time being, but how secure is it? How well and how long is it going to maintain itself with only these 3 M4s in play from Blade, World Edit, and Bondic? If they lose those, then they're obviously just going to go right back onto a full eco, as Davcoast and Markelov are forced to do right now, and this has to be a big play from them, because even if we do see these players coming out on top this time, we've still seen a big buyout from these guys. Just look at the money situation. Actually, no, I'm wrong about that. They're going to be in a semi-decent position here, but if they drop a second one, it'll still put them in a very sort of on-the-edge spot, and I imagine it would end up being what would have been the equivalent of a double save here, so now they're going to work their way in. Markelov looking for the opening shot, just a bit unfortunate that he, with just a measly little USP, has to be the first player to get in the way of this one. He's going to move in. Tensky finds the shot, but Davcoast gets the response. MSL finding one from Team Dignitas' side as well to shut down Davcoast, and now they've lost both of those players. Thankfully, they were the ones with pistols, so none of the big guns have been dropped as of yet, but it's the same story, just repeating itself here, and the same players, ironically enough, too, that are out of position. Bondic, thankfully, at the very least, is positioned a little bit better for exits, but he's caught switching weapons here, so Pip is going to get a chance to catch him. Thankfully, Bondic wins the trade anyway. World Edit finding another one, but MSL also dropping one of the big guns here. He's going to take down Blade, looking for an additional kill over here on the World Edit, as it's brought into a 2-on-2. If they had stayed in sight to try and fight this a little more, this would have been recoverable to get the defuse at this point, but now it's too far gone, unfortunately, and MSL is going to get flashed here by World Edit. World Edit will not follow up by actually pushing out towards him at this point, but now he pops, he goes for the shoulder peek here, only hits MSL for a little bit, and actually caught off guard there by Bondic, who rotates around him. AZ gets the response to that, though, and for World Edit, there's no way in hell he's going to peek that, so he just sits back. That's the only rifle they have now. And the rest of these players, now the call has to come out. Do we go for the pistol buy-up, or do we just really force it up with M4s at this point, because now Dignitas, they get themselves back into this game, and they'll more than likely tie things up now at 11 points. And they do go for the economical option. This is on par with what we were seeing from them on the previous on their previous side back over on the last map on Inferno. And granted, it was an economical strategy that was adopted a lot more for their T side, but still we didn't really see them ever come under pressure on their T side economy in the last half. So obviously we didn't really see that coming into play. But Kirby's going to roll in. He gets traded out by Blade. AZ finding an additional frag though, and World Edit unfortunately going for that reload there at a very unopportunity time. IZ will be able to escape his encounter with World Edit by just 8 HP. MSL being brought very low too, but he picks up an additional kill onto Markolov by bringing him down. Davkos gets the Kobe though, shuts him down. And now it's going to be a 3-on-2 retake here. World Edit with another great shot, takes out Tensky, and now it's even odds here. And Dignitas with a very limited ability to hold this. Thankfully it's planted for the World Edit though, gets a nice shot, and now Pip's out in the open, so World Edit can just jump through. They're going to shut him down. And the trades will continue, folks. FlipSid, very, very aggressive on the retake, just to respond to that same type of aggression we saw from Dignitas. And it works out. They get themselves back and they survive with 2 players left alive. Both are going to scavenge AKs. And they are going to just barely keep that lead alive as they hump through it here. Dignitas picks up those 3 rounds off of the pistol. We see the response coming out in the gun round. 2 more are scored as Dignitas close the gap once again, but FlipSid are going to be able to maintain it as they squeak through with another round. The money actually in a fairly decent spot, to be completely honest with you, for a lot of these players. Even if we do see the members of Dignitas scoring yet another round here, we'll still probably be in a semi-good position for potentially FlipSid to go for a force buy at this point to try and stop them from regaining that lead once again. And I imagine that will be what we see. FlipSid, I think, are very competitively in this, and they don't want to lose that lead. That's going to be a pretty big mental block against them, along with the obvious fact that they'll lose the lead. So here comes Dignitas once again. They go for mid control, not nearly as aggressively as we were seeing FlipSid work for it in the previous half, as these players are going to work their way forwards here. MSL looking for a way to get himself into connector here, and not a whole lot of actual resistance on that A site. Kirby should be able to call this in a second, so I imagine they're just going to walk right in there. The big problem is they basically, you can look at it, they basically just have a bear trap around these players, and it's not really going to be utilized as well as I would have hoped it would here. Bondic finds a kill. Now they need to try to spring it, but AZ is going to kill one of its claws. He shuts down Markolov, finding a second one here too on a World, and an MSL also taking down Bondic. Now it's just Davkos, and he's kind of awkwardly waddling in here from the ladder room, hoping he can catch a couple players here. He's going to take down IZ at least, but now they know where he is. They're going to hear him rotating out here, and there's the shutdown from Tensky to end it for Dignitas. They're right back into it, bringing it up to 12-11. And that will now put them only 1 more point behind the members of FlipSid once again. And as we talked about before, FlipSid could buy here. It would be a little bit forced, but they could go for it. However, they're going to make the choice not to. They're just going to go for an eco round. They'll let Dignitas more than likely tie things up, try to get as much damage as possible. And this is going to be a big risk taken because this puts a lot of emphasis. I think the one very good thing that they will be able to get off of this save here is that now if World Edit wants it, we haven't seen him go for it just yet, but if World Edit actually wants to pick it up here, he should be able to pick up the op once again on the CT side, which we haven't really seen him being given an opportunity for that just yet. It was mainly on the T side that we saw him making that play, and although he's been doing a fantastic job just looking at the frag counter here with mainly a rifle, he unfortunately hasn't been given many opportunities to work the op. I don't think he's been given a single opportunity to work it again on the CT side. So FlipSid will line themselves up to try and spring the trap once again over here onto these members of FlipSid as they've got a lot coming through connector right now. There's Blade. Oh my goodness, Blade just walks in and kills 2 of them. They're not even looking at the site. Markolov also picking up another one at MSL too. So now they've got 2 AKs in play. Markolov, he doesn't have anything yet, but he should know that Tensky's in this play at this point and trying to work his way in. And also, look at where the bomb is. It's just stuck sitting down over here at middle right now. There's nobody to come and pick that up. They've got to work for a recovery on that before they can even get themselves back into this round. Thankfully, Tensky finding one. Kirby coming back in, picks up a second. And now all the pressure's back onto Bondic. But Bondic, no armor to work with at this point. He should know where Kirby is, so he's going to know the pressure will be coming from that direction. But Bondic as well is trying to play sneakily in his own game. 25 seconds left. He's going to risk and let them pick up the bomb as he works his way back into the B site. Now he's gonna at the very least pick up this kill. Doesn't take the shot on Tensky. Doesn't want to give himself away. Keep in mind, again, that's the big key here. He doesn't have any armor. So if he loses just one of these duels, or at the very least, if he gets hit first, then he's going to be out of the running for this one. There's no way in hell he's going to be able to control that spray and take them down with no armor, especially if he gets hit first there. He's got to be perfect. He's got to pick up those headshots. Kirby might be able to see him here, and there we go. Kirby spotted him, so now he should be able to take him down. He's going to rotate his way out. Bondik's going for the coverage, but now he hits by a molly, and Kirby does end up outflanking him there. Could have been a great play, but unfortunately, those two additional kills that came out almost immediately after we see Blade picking them up allows the members of Team Dignitas to get themselves back into this one, and now they tie it up at 12-12, but that's exactly what we wanted to see. FlipSid, to be honest, they weren't expecting to get much out of that, so the fact that they get 3 kills is a big enough bonus for them at all. Now the big thing comes into play. World Edit goes for the full buyout. He's got utility and everything, and he's got the big green gun. Technically his isn't very green, but still. Now he's going to be waiting for the members of Dignitas to push in here, just from outside of the connector on the site, waiting for the first shot, but it misses, and now they're inside of connector. They're going to slowly push their way in here. The resistance comes out from the rest of the CTs. They're going to be directing their attention forward, but he's up in their faces, catches one, looking for the second, and he gets it on a no-scope, but he can't find the third. Tensky responds. Kirby finding another one. Now Blade comes into party. He's going to pick up Kirby, and it's just Tensky stuck inside of the window room, and they all should know this is where he is. Davkos, he's got his eyes trained onto it. He's going to try to work his way out here, and Tensky looking for the kill that goes over there on a Davkos. He's trapped now, though, and no bomb control. Once again, it's a big issue for this, so Tensky, it would be an absolutely monstrous clutch for him. But there you go, Davkos gets the spray through the smoke, shuts him down, and FlipSid again keep this lead going, 12-13. They're not done just yet. They get it back. They're not going to break Dignitas, I wouldn't say just as of yet, and we are going to see the force up from Dignitas. They really want to try to keep themselves as close as possible to that scoreline, but this is another big risk being taken by these players. As now on FlipSid, if they shut this down, if they don't let this push come through, and at the very least, if they can prevent the plant, then this is going to be a huge shutdown on the Team Dignitas economy. They won't be able to really buy up, and at 14 points, FlipSid may just have to go up against an eco round, which would be an easy shutdown. That would put them at 15 points, and that would essentially allow them to take this into map number 3. And there's going to be Markelov opening it up. He finds a shot into MSL. They try to blind push over towards Cap. That doesn't go very well. The rest of these players trying to work their way in now from the apartments. Davkos is flashed, but they haven't seen him as of yet. He's still sitting here. He's going to try to catch one. A little bit messy on the spray, but he corrects it. And then we're sitting right on top of him. But Tensky doesn't even realize it, so he's going to aim up. He finishes him off, switching to the pistol, looking for another one onto Kirby. He's going to take that one down as well. And World Edit with another op shot. He's going to take down Izzy. And FlipSid come out on top. They shut it down. There's no plant. There's no anything. And look at the money from Dignitas. It's gone. They've got nothing left to buy up here. They're going to have to force buy with pistols if they want to try to prevent the absolute victory from FlipSid. And if they just want to play it out here for the tie, then they're going to end up saving completely. Only a couple buy-ups here. Pimp is the only player that really goes for any sort of significant upgrade, but there's no armor behind it. P250 is onto Kirby and Izzy, so FlipSid might have just won the map off of that play, and there's World Edit already finding the first kill over here onto Izzy. That's going to take him down. World Edit potential with another one being lined up here too. Davkos picking up a kill into MSL as they try to push in towards the apartments. The connector push is alive and well, and nobody's spotted this yet, so if he can get himself into a position to catch Blade maybe, then there might be something alive there, but the rest of the team is completely detached from him at this point. So Davkos finding another kill once again from FlipSid to take down Kirby. World Edit just looking for more, but basically everything has been fed to the members of Team FlipSid at this point, and Dignitas, they've got nothing else to work for. Tensky and Pimp. Pimp is going to fall to Blade, and now it's just Tensky, who might have gotten spotted there by Davkos. Just made some noise, though, and there you have it. The bomb goes down. FlipSid now at 15 points, and map 3 is getting closer and closer, guys. FlipSid sitting at this point with all the money. This is another thing that I haven't even highlighted as of yet. Because of how swiftly we've seen these 3 rounds go for the members of FlipSid, they're right back on the treadmill that we saw from that T side here too, where they almost make it through every single round just so confidently. These previous 2 specifically have been a huge bonus with 4 live, and this previous one keeping every single member back up, so their money's built up to a great point. So even if Dignitas strike back right now, then we will end up seeing still end up seeing another buy coming out of the members of FlipSid. So this is it, Dignitas. They've got to strike back here, and you just take a look at the utility too. It's going to be very limited, so they have to play this super slowly, and also finding an opening pick or two. Also be very careful with just, firing those random shots up, because that's going to give away positions at the very least. And we can see a cap spot being taken up here by Markelov. He will get challenged in a second by MSL. He spots him, but is not going to want to directly challenge it, so he ends up falling back over here just by the arches for the time being. Dignitas won't push into this one either, and MSL is going to get smoked off. Pimp may just go right through that, but there's actually going to be Izzy. He picks up the opening kill, finds a second one on the Bondic, and now he's going to work his way inside of the window room there to try to find more. Won't be catching it, but the rest of the team, they can find their way back in here, and it's all just on the Blade, I believe, is the only player still left on site. He's looking for a kill on a Kirby. He's going to find it, but he's so low now, so MSL is going to push towards him. He takes him down, and now it's Markelov and Davko, so I think Dignitas might be able to respond. However, Markelov finding an additional kill over here on a Tensky, but it's such a hard retake here for the CTs to work towards. They've used pretty much all of their utility that they bought up this round, and they're both just kind of blind pushing in here through connector. Pimp, I imagine, will get this kill over here on the Dow Coast, and maybe the last one as well. We will see at least one trade come up, but Dignitas, they're back into this game, 13-15. And guys, please, no spoilers in the chat. We know you're cool because you can open a Half-Life TV page, but it kind of makes you an asshole if you post that stuff, so please don't do that. I think I'm the only mod in here right now, so I don't have time to moderate that. So, for FlipSid now. They're not clear just yet here for map number 3. And now for Dignitas, they again will be forced up to some degree, but it's getting a little bit better this time around. The rest of the people, MSL finding an opening for Dignitas once again here, and that's going to get a little bit over-aggressive there from FlipSid. That's going to end up catching Markelov off as he's sitting up on Cat here. Worldedit looking for a shot, can't actually end up seeing, I believe that's AZ back over there, and Worldedit's going to have to fall back once again there. Worldedit finding another shot back over here. He's going to end up shutting down AZ and Tensy getting the response to that. AZ finding another one, and now it's just Blade left alive at this point. Blade going to try to go ham at this point. He moves in, but he's shut down as well. So there you go with it. Apologies, 15-14 now. Alright, you guys asked for it. No spoilers allowed, folks. I had to put it into sub mode just so we keep the hype going. As we're gonna find out what happens if it goes into overtime now, or if we're gonna end up going into apologies, or if we're gonna end up going just directly to map 3 if FlipSid can end up clutching this out. And look at the money from FlipSid 2. We talked about how strong it had built itself up, but now it's completely gone at this point, so it's completely reversed. Dignitas, they have the advantage at this point. They're back into this. 4 AKs. Along with that rifle being picked up there too, interestingly enough, off of Bondic from the previous round. Only 2 real big guns coming in here from the FlipSid roster. Davcoast, interestingly enough, with the op this time. I guess Worldedit hasn't been feeling too confident with it, so they're not going to end up putting it into his hands. But now, as we can see here, Dignitas just got to take their time with this. They got to look for any extra aggression on FlipSid, and they can maybe end up taking this into their favor, and maybe just take this into OT. And there's going to be the opener there. Comes out from Worldedit. He catches that kill with the pistol. He's going to start to fall back a little more too. And this is going to cause such a big fallback here for the members of Team Dignitas. MSL and Pimp, they move themselves away. They're going to end up flashing with a fallback and work with the rest of their team. This might just end up being a straight push into the B site there, which puts all the pressure onto Markelov, which is not going to be the most optimal situation here. He's only got this P250 to work with. He does have some support coming in from one of his teammates over here, and that's going to end up being over there on Worldedit, but Worldedit 2 has only got a pistol. They've got no rifle in this site, and it's so far away. The only other rifle is you can take a look at the number 6 player. He's still coming in from middle right now, and they're just going to rush into this site. They've got one more play from Connector 2 to cut off rotations. Kirby finds the opening shot over here into Markelov. He finds a second one on the Blade rotating. MSL catching one on the Bondic. Tensky catching a 4th on the Worldedit, and now it's just Davcoast here who has to try and save it. He drops the bomb carrier, but now he's out in the open looking for the shot with the op, but he can't find it with no armor. Pimp's going to come out on top there, and we're going into overtime, guys. And that is going to be a very... Hold on one second. There we go. Now you guys should be able to chat. Sorry about that. Alright, and this is going to make things very, very intense indeed. As FlipSid had that. FlipSid essentially had that in their favor. But it goes pretty much against them. And now, I'm actually curious about this because I haven't had an overtime yet as to whether this is going to be MR3 or MR5. Because I vaguely remember previous StarSeries seasons, apologies, being MR5, but I don't know 100%. So we'll just wait for that to come in. And overall here too, the thing is that we're going to stick on the usual side. So FlipSid again on these gun rounds too. This has been where they've had some problems too. Is just in these high pressure situations, there's FlipSid just hasn't been able to perform. They've gotten lucky a couple times. They've been able to pull through it a couple times here where they've managed to pick up those rounds, and that's almost what guaranteed the victory. But they brought up to that 15-12 point. They weren't able to bring it back from that point though, and now, excuse me, the members of Team Dignitas, they've been able to tie things up, and I imagine that FlipSid are going to be kicking in their pants at this point now about how close that was to just taking it to third map, but now it's potentially going to be going over here to just this map as well. If Dignitas can close it out here, then we're going to be done right from the get-go. We won't even end up going into that third map, and they can just shut it down. So, taking a few minutes, I imagine they're waiting for an answer on whether it's MR3 or MR5. I'm waiting for that as well, and I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat as to who exactly I am. So I guess since we're kind of running out of things to talk about while we wait, and since I'm solo, my name is Blue. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I guess, because that's the easiest way. I cast all over the place. Mainly I cast with the ECA, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at BLUCSGO. So pretty easy one to catch. I will link it. I will link it in the chat once the game is over. But I don't want to focus too much on myself because, well, we have a pretty intense game on our hands, and the focus should be on the game, not on the caster. So just waiting for the ready-ups to come in. The Dignitas players have already readied up for themselves. And it looks like it's MR3. Okay. So it should be a MR3 16K. That's a little different. Alright, I'm usually used to MR3 10K. So that will be interesting too, because normally with the 10K limit, you can see teams, they go for these sort of aggressive buy-ups where they try to go for something like a double op buy-up, and normally that would get punished pretty heavily if you lose that round when you go for the double op buy-up, or even when you go for like an auto sniper buy-up too, as a lot of teams in North America like to do that. So with 16K, that actually should make that a lot easier to work with if that is going to end up being the case. So I imagine these teams are actually taking it on, because 16K I think is a little bit off from the usual format. I think it's normally MR3 10K. But that's just normally what I'm used to, because for the most part I only cast DSCA, and that's what we use over there. And in case, by the way, guys, people are wondering what the difference between MR3 and MR5 is. So basically, the normal round score time is MR15, and that is basically the half there. So you have 15 rounds and a half, and then it switches sides. MR3 for overtime would be like you have 3 rounds and a half, and then it switches sides again. The 10K and the 16K is how much starting money you get, and it is going to be full 16K, so this is going to be actually pretty chaotic, because I imagine there would be no reason for teams to not go for double op setups for auto snipers or anything crazy like that. They've got all the money they should need for all 3 rounds, to be honest. And MR5 as well would basically be the same thing, just to finish off that point. It would just be 5 rounds and a half, and then you would switch it. So, wait, what happened? Oh, oh, great. Now, okay, that's not good. So. That's gonna be a lot of friend requests I'll get now. Yes, I'm DMG. Alright, so I don't know what just happened with the... I don't know what just ended up happening there with the thing, but I'm gonna have to take a quick break here really quickly, folks, to get ourselves back into this, so we'll be right back in just a second as soon as I'm back into the server, and hopefully I can just resume the cast from that point forward, because I gotta figure out exactly what happened. Alright, and apparently they started without me, so I got kicked out when they stopped the server, and now we're back into it, folks. So I do apologize for that, but we're back into it now, and we're going to jump right into the cast, because it looks like this is live at this point. Tensky picking up 2 entry kills here. Well, then it gets a response, with Pimp finding another one as well, so it leaves it into a 2-on-2 even out here, as these players get themselves into the site. Markolov finding an additional one here, too, to shut down Pimp as he works his way back into there. Kirby as well, trying to hold things off here from the T side, but that other additional kill that comes in from FlipSid is going to be a good addition to this one now, as Kirby tries to hold this. He falls back a little bit more. Davkos and Markolov making some good progress on pushing back into this site at this point. They've even got the smoke going over the bomb, so Davkos can just go for it here at this point. He doesn't make the sound. Both have kits at this point, but they're using a lot of time to try and just kill Kirby. He's going to push in. Thankfully, Markolov is going to end up shutting it down. You guys didn't miss the end of a round at the very least for you there. Did miss some of the opening action, but apparently that's just something that happens on the servers here, so that's going to close it out for FlipSid. They pick up the first point. Now they get themselves right back into the lead here in this first overtime. Now, with this being built up, of course, I'm actually, and I've already talked about this a little bit, but just for the sake of not having a whole lot to bounce off of here for this point, I'm actually very curious to see, like, how the 16k money is going to affect the losing team here. So, like, if FlipSid goes just 3-0 with this, I kind of want to see what the third buy, because normally, at least on a CT side, if you just lose the first 2 rounds outright without saving or anything like that, the third round is, like, max pistols at most, so kind of curious as to how the math is going to work out and see if they can get out of the rifle buys. That would make it, like, very crazy on that third round, too. FlipSid obviously being able to stack up as much money as they want. That's going to help them in a big way. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest, to see that they haven't gone for, like, anything else at this point. To see that they haven't gone for, like, an auto sniper or something like that, just with having that much, like, the $6,000 extra dollars. That is equal on each individual player, just something like an auto sniper or whatnot. Even if you lose one around there, it can sort of be forgiven as it goes away from the usual 10k amount. I do not know why it's MR316k. Like, I'm not an admin, I'm just a caster, so that's why I don't know that. But AZ gonna pick up the opening shot over here on the Dav coast. Markelov finding an additional one from the on top of the ladder rim there, so they hold back the push for the time being. And that bomb is still down too, with a lot of time going away. So Dignitas kind of falling prey to some of the strategy that we saw from FlipSid here too, where they can't make a whole lot of progress at the beginning of the round, and then they're stuck in a situation where they've got to make a take with very limited amount of time left. But they are gonna go for a B take there, and Kirby actually making some progress here too on making his way into the A site. But I'm fairly certain that the members of FlipSid already know where this is working towards. So Blade is gonna find another kill into AZ. They should be able to confirm based off of that position, especially with all the noise being made here too. I'm pretty sure Markelov's gonna be able to hear that. Now they're coming into the B site, but Markelov finding one kill, looking for a second over here. A little bit of trouble finding the spray now, but in the meantime, Blade almost catches Kirby. Kirby with some good movement there is actually gonna be able to get out of the way of that. Maybe try to challenge it, but Blade still comes out on top. Pimp though is still alive, and while with 10 seconds left, he's gonna be forced to plant. He's actually going to wait here because he's got a couple extra seconds, finds that kill, and now he's going to go for it, but he plants it in the open. Doesn't even remember that Blade is sitting there in middle. I just don't think, unfortunately, he had enough time to relocate to get himself within cover, so that's going to end it. And FlipSid now up 2-0 here in the first overtime. And with it being MR3, by the way, in case anybody is new to CS once again, that would mean that the score you need to win it, much like, again, with MR50, we need 16 points, so we need one more than that. So you would need 4 rounds within the equivalence of the overtime in order to come out on top. So that's going to mean the magic number to win here for FlipSid is 19 points. Same thing for Dignitas, obviously. But if FlipSid went out this one, they only need one more in the next half in order to win it. Very similar, of course, to the regular round time. So now, FlipSid once again here. They're going to try to work their way up here. Or apologies, they're going to try to hold things off as there's all kinds of smoke working its way over here towards top middle. See that AZ trying to stop this one. Oh, but unfortunately he's going to get punished for that one. Markelov shuts him down with a headshot there and takes him down, so that holds back a lot of the middle pressure here. Dignitas trying to find their way to get themselves into a site to start things off, but overall the holds are just so strong here coming out from FlipSid, and even the nades and whatnot that are coming in, not very impactful to the positioning here of FlipSid, so Dignitas is going to try to go for this B take once again, but there's some aggressive positioning being taken up here, specifically by Markelov. Markelov, though, looks the wrong way at the wrong time, so MSL is going to be able to catch him there. That will take him down. Now the rest of these guys working their way over here to get onto that B site. Davko's fighting another shot there, too. Pimp also catching a nade kill at the very least, so they work their way in with this one, but the B take is on, and these players on the site are trying to stop it, but now Worlded, it's going to get dropped. Blade is going to go right in here, try to stop Pimp before he get the plant. Not going to happen, but he does get the kill. Now, though, he's out in the open, and Tensky will find the response, so Bondik is going to try to move his way back over into this site, too, to try and get out of the way of this one, but unfortunately, with all the guns still in the hands of the members of Dignitas, it's going to be that much harder to hold it off here. Bondik moves in. They haven't seen him yet, but now they're going to hear him. If he had moved quietly, this could have worked out so much better. Molly not in the right place, and Tensky with the clothesline, man, shuts it down. And Dignitas are going to be able to strike back here as the first overtime comes to a close. And as we switch sides with it once again, just keep in mind, folks, here now that what this means, Dignitas, they need to win all 3 of these next ones in order to win this one. FlipSid need to win 2. And if not, if it ties up, and I'm just assuming because I was getting a lot of questions about it in the chat, and at this point here too, if it ends up being an equal trade again, so if Dignitas wins 2 and both teams end up at 18, then we just reset it and we go back to overtime 2. And that process, if it continues to happen, will technically go on ad infinitum until somebody gets at least 4 rounds. And we have seen before. The most recent one was in like June, where I think it went to like 6 overtimes in a North American game. So for FlipSid now, they're gonna have to try to build up upon this one. And I'll put up sub mode in a second here, guys. I know you guys don't want the spoiler, so I'm gonna make sure that the people that want to do that won't have to deal with it. FlipSid trying to push forward there, and thankfully they're gonna be able to catch that little bit of extra aggression that's happening there in middle. Kirby looking for a response to this one as well as Worlded shuts down Tensky. Kirby looking for a way out onto that, but now the members of FlipSid here trying to find their way out to get that mid control as they so often did on the regulation time too, so they're going to go right back to that strategy. The good thing about them, and the good thing that they moved away from here, is that they actually ended up sort of, they didn't fall into that pitfall that I talked about at the beginning of the game, which was sort of they just used the same strategies over and over again, and it just falls into a very predictable pattern for Dignitas to play against. They were actually pretty dynamic, specifically with their usage of the middle area here too. So this is going to be good. Davkos is boosted up on top. If Kirby tries to peek out that window, he's basically going to be a dead man. I'm highly not expecting it at all. Unfortunately for Davkos there, he does end up losing a teammate to this one because he doesn't want to try to go directly into that site. He was waiting for him to peek out, but he doesn't. The response is not going to be nearly as quick as we needed to see it here. The rest of FlipSid as well. I think somebody might have accidentally fired a shot there, so that's going to give AZ the key. He was just about to go check out what was happening in middle, but now these smokes are rolling in. No responses as of yet, and keep in mind too, they've got a chokehold on a lot of what's happening here from within inside the A site too, so those rotations, they can't really come in. But the wrong choice is, sort of the wrong choice is going to end up being made here by FlipSid as they move the bomb away. They're going to take it through a connector and work its way into the A site, whereas MSL along with Pimp are still here. They're still waiting for it. They still know it's coming. This is not going to be a safe situation for these guys as yet, but Pimp is going to miss his opening opportunity there to connect the shot. Corrects it on the second, though, to take down Markaloff, and that nade going in, almost going to shut it down. Bondic, though, gets that kill, but MSL and AZ quickly take it down, and Dignitas are going to tie things back up again here at 17 points. 17 to 17, and we see the buy-ups coming up once again here. Still, with all the money that we still have in play for FlipSid's members, we can still see a pretty liberal buyout coming out. World Edit, you can see too, he's even going to buy a second op here, and even with that now, because of the 16k start money, we're still going to be looking at him being able to buy an AK on the next round. So this is it's a bit unfortunate, just because of the fact that it sort of removes the risk of running out of money, so you don't have to manage the economy nearly as well. It just makes it like basically 3 gun rounds in a row, and then you trade it off into the same thing again. But in terms of the excitement factor, I imagine it kicks it up a little bit more here too. But Izzy, they're going to scavenge one of his teammates' ops after he gets dropped. Kirby finding the trade after the earlier kill happens though over there on the Markaloff in order to take him down. And now for these guys moving their way to try to get onto this site. They're going to slow it down, and they still keep that bomb very well placed back too, but thankfully Blade is going to win this duel versus Kirby. And with that coming out on top for him, he's going to be able to fall back, scavenge the bomb. And they've gotten pretty liberal mid-control here with this too. The smoke comes out in the window rooms at MSL, can't really do anything to stop that. He's had to fall back from there, and I'm imagining he's going to put himself in a position by ticket box, but FlipSid actually wavering back and forth all over the place. You're trying to figure out exactly where they're going to position all their players and try to put them out of harm's way essentially here now. But for FlipSid, they're going to move these guys back over here into the back halls on B. Tensky as well with this pop flash ready to go if it does move in from that angle. And they've also put MSL back into this one as well just to try and see if he can get some good shots. And this is the same position that we saw Kirby using a lot there on that eco round that he was able to get another nice amount of damage off, which eventually led to his team winning the round. Apologies. And now they're going to come back out. The pop flash works his way out. And now it's going to be on Tensky to shut it down. He gets 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kills on a Davkos, Bondic, and World Edit. And now it's just over here on the Blade, apologies, which he gets killed as well very quickly by MSL. They're going to take him down. And now Dignitas are going to be on match point at this point. We go into the 6th round. FlipSid have to tie it up here. They'll still have another competent buy-up coming out for themselves here with full utility and everything, so no worries at all in that respect. They actually, apologies, they get the full op over here on the World Edit, so they still have that op to work with. They still have that aspect to work with, and for Dignitas, of course, they're still sitting very, very pretty as well here. So now they're going to go, and we'll have to see if Dignitas can just end up closing it out here, or if FlipSid will tie things up once again, and we'll go into our second overtime. But for the members of FlipSid here, trying to play it slowly. We're going to take it back and just take as much time as possible as needed here. Tensky and IZ playing from within side of the general area of middle here. Tensky's going to watch out for a big boost that would come back over there. But FlipSid, no real deviation from the overall plan just as of yet. I imagine this time, with them working towards underpass a little bit more, they might try to shift this into a mid to A take, because they've been avoiding A for a lot of the time so far here. They've generally been very privy on going over towards that B side and trying to make a take there, but it just hasn't been panning out very well for them at all here. Pimp, as you can see here too, is ready with the op on site. Kirby now actually takes the position of Tensky from the previous round, despite him doing a fantastic job, as now he's got to focus on this mid tunnel, and there's going to be Izzy from inside the connector. He's going to find the opening kill over here on the Blade. Bondic looking for a chance to get himself outside, but the timing on the smoke is going to be great. This is a problem for FlipSid. This is the same thing as that first pistol round on the first map, and now the auto in play as well here for the CT side, shutting down World Edit. Markaloff, though, gets a free pass to get himself in through connector, and Davkos finding another one, so that brings it into a 3-on-3. Davkos getting another one to leave it down to just 2 players for Dignitas. Kirby waiting just outside of connector, and Pimp as well. Going to try to catch some of these players with the op as they work their way out. He's going to see that arm, but he doesn't react to it. Waiting for the push. He gets that blind shot on a Markaloff. The timing on it is perfect. Now the bomb goes onto the floor, and he has a security looking for another shot. He's going to light up Davkos down to 25 HP. That Molly's not going to connect. They get the plan with 3 seconds left on the clock now. Bondic trying to push forward, waiting for the shot on Pimp, but Pimp finds one. Now he's going to try to close it out, and he does it! Finishes it off the game, and that's going to be Dignitas winning 2-0, coming back in overtime with 19-17 being the final score of the matchup, and Dignitas wins it 2-0. And let me turn off this thing really quickly. So what a big turnaround there from the members of Team Dignitas after such a brutal start, taking the first half 10-5 against their favor. And obviously, again, the issues that did end up popping up on the second half, it was looking a much better, I do have to say, than what we ended up seeing on our first map there for the CT side. But unfortunately, not enough power. They bring it back, and in overtime there, we see it starts off well for FlipSid. They pick up the first 2 rounds, but from that point forward, it's just Dignitas shutting it down. And an all-star performance from Dignitas' Opper at the end of it to close things out for his team. That's going to be it, guys. Score on the screen is wrong at this point. It is 2-0 for them. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed the cast, you can go ahead and follow me over on Twitter. I'm at BLUCSGO. I believe I'll be back tomorrow as well for more games then, so if you want to watch me there, we should be back at around the same time. It might be a little bit later because I don't know if we're doing 1 or 2 games tomorrow, but we'll be back tomorrow, of course, and I'll put it on Twitter as soon as we're going live. And beyond that, folks, we hope you have enjoyed the stream today. So I think that is about it. We do have some ads to run before we close it out, so if you'd like to stick around for those, it would be appreciated. But thank you guys once again for tuning into the StarSeries Season 14 presented by iLeague, and we'll see you tomorrow for more games.